There is no one to take care of me. 2 of my neighbors died, and people found out only because of the smell. I don't want to die alone. I don't want the same thing to happen to me. I'm in my old age already, and when I die, I want someone to know. Now, social workers say this problem will only get worse. Many of these problems are created by PAP policies. For example, some elderly people are forced to downgrade their flats so that they can get some income. The problem is that when they do, they often have to uproot from their community which they may have lived for decades and move to an entirely new neighborhood. They could be displaced from their families and friends, and for the elderly, this is very traumatic. Does this government really understand the plight of our elderly? There have been 2 elderly suicides since just in the few weeks since our campaign started here in Bukit Batok. These have not been reported. I don't think so. We found these out as we were walking the ground. Why does it have to be this way? Why do our elderly have to live such kinds of misery and die, or worse, kill themselves in loneliness and fear? Mr. Murali says he wants to focus on the poor and the elderly. Hang on a minute. If Mr. Murali says he's been here for 16 years, then why? Why is he expressing concern about the elderly poor only in the last 6 weeks when the by-election was called? Surely he could have done something for the poor and the elderly here in Bukit Batok in the time that he says he's been here. The truth is that there's very little he can do about the plight of our elderly, because it is the policies of his party that has caused our elderly to live such miserable lives. This must change. We must take better care of our elderly. We must raise the quality of life for our elderly folk, starting with our residents here in Bukit Batok. As your MP, I will see to it that our older folks get the life and the respect they require and deserve. Ape, Pachi, Machi, when you were young, you worked just as hard, if not harder than any of us, and you contributed to our nation's development, just like us. When you become old, your government cannot just put you to one side. The PAP cannot treat you like tissue paper, use you, and then throw you away after it uses you. No, we must take care of our elderly better, if only because one day we will become old ourselves. I will tackle this issue on 2 fronts. First, as I explained earlier, we will implement our initiative Hearts for Bukit Batok and raise awareness among the residents to help the elderly poor in our constituency. And it's just not money that we're talking about. It's the quality of life, the day-to-day existence that the elderly go through that needs to be considered too. They need interaction and activity, both physical and mental, to keep mobile, to keep active. And we will be organizing programs and getting the help of volunteers through our Hearts for Bukit Batok program, such as organizing bingo nights, mahjong mornings, gardening, and so on. These activities will help to fill the lives of our older residents and give them something to look forward to when they wake up every morning. Second, I will raise this issue in Parliament, and I will raise this issue in Parliament again and again and again and again until the government increases the budget for assistance for our elderly and provide more care for elderly Singaporeans. I want you, our elderly residents, to lead a full life and not have to constantly worry about who is going to take care of you. You need to lead more independent lives instead of having to rely on your children for support, because they have their own young children to look after and they cannot afford to look after 2 generations in the family. The government must do its part. As your MP, I will do my part to push for programs that will pay more attention to your needs. And one of the big attractions of our Hearts for Bukit Batok is to facilitate residents in the constituency adopting a family from the low income group, of which many are scattered throughout the town. Now you may think that this program is to help the needy. Yes, it does. But that's only one part of it. It is also to help families who provide the assistance. That is, the givers. I'm a strong believer in the adage, it is better to give than to receive. And I am sure that there are many of you who feel the same way. When we give, we reinforce the idea that we are one in the world. This is why in whatever religion we practice, to whichever faith we subscribe to, be it Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and so on, we are called to serve by helping those, especially the weak and poor among us. This is the core tenet of many religious teachings. It is what makes us human. Humans are selfish, yes, but we can also be capable of much kindness and compassion. Whether we orientate ourselves towards selfishness or selflessness depends very much on leaders of the community. If the MP in Bukit Batok can foster and cultivate a community that emphasizes on giving and helping those around us, then I believe this will be the beginning of something special, something we can be truly proud of as a community. I want the residents and community of Bukit Batok to adopt a different attitude and outlook. I want to be that enabler, the facilitator of a more compassionate, more giving society. I believe the MP can be that spark to ignite the generosity of spirit latent in all of us. I want to be such an MP.